You've probably tried to memorize something important, a speech, a list, an exam topic, only to find it's vanished from your mind within hours. That's because most people approach memory completely wrong. They rely on repetition and rereading, methods that feel productive but are scientifically proven to be incredibly inefficient. What if you could flip a switch in your brain and make information stick in minutes? It's not about having a photographic memory. It's about using the way your brain is already wired to work. If you want to learn faster and actually remember what you study, subscribe and like the video so you don't miss these techniques. The first thing to understand is that your brain doesn't remember information based on how many times you see it. It remembers based on how meaningful and vivid that information feels. Think about your most vivid childhood memory. You can probably recall tiny details. That's the state you need to create for any fact you want to keep. The most powerful tool for this is called visualization. Instead of just repeating a name or a number, turn it into a wild, exaggerated picture in your mind. If you need to remember to buy apples and tape, don't just list them. Imagine a giant apple using a roll of tape as a hula hoop. The sillier and more bizarre, the better. This works because your brain's visual and spatial centers are directly linked to memory formation. You're hijacking ancient pathways used for navigation and survival, forcing the mundane to become memorable. But a single image isn't enough for a long list or complex ideas. That's where the second technique comes in. The story method, or linking. You take those vivid images and chain them together into a ridiculous, nonsensical story. Need to remember a sequence like keys, printer, coffee, meeting. Imagine using your giant key to unlock a printer that starts spouting espresso, which you frantically try to clean up before a meeting. The story creates a sequence and context, which are crucial for recall. Neuroscience shows that narratives provide a structure, a memory palace of sorts, that gives isolated facts a home and a connection to each other. You're not memorizing isolated items. You're remembering a journey. Now, here's the critical mistake almost everyone makes. They stop at creating the memory. They build the image or the story and think the job is done. The real magic, the science-backed step that locks it in, is active recall. This simply means testing yourself. Close your eyes and try to walk through your ridiculous story and retrieve the items. The struggle to pull the information up is what actually strengthens the memory. Every time you successfully recall it, you're building a stronger neural pathway. Passive review, like rereading your notes, does almost nothing compared to this active effort. It's the difference between looking at a map of a city and actually walking through its streets. So the formula is this: transform information into vivid, sensory images, link them in a memorable sequence, and then actively retrieve that sequence without looking. This method leverages how your hippocampus, the brain's memory center, actually encodes and consolidates information. It prioritizes the unusual, the emotional, and the spatially organized. Cramming tries to brute force information into a system that's designed to filter it out. This method works with your brain's natural filters. Ultimately, memory isn't about how hard you try to remember. It's about how cleverly you give your brain something it can't possibly forget. You don't have a bad memory. You've just been using the wrong instructions. Next, I'm breaking down how to use these exact principles to memorize an entire textbook chapter without endless highlighting. You don't want to miss that.